London, a city that never truly sleeps, where the lights of the skyline twinkle like stars, and the streets are always alive with the hum of activity. A city that pulsates with life, where every corner tells a story and every street has a history. From the bustling markets of Camden to the serene paths of Hyde Park, London is a tapestry of experiences. Yet as night falls, a different London emerges. A city that sleeps beneath a blanket of stars, where the hustle and bustle give way to a serene stillness. But even in this tranquility, shadows lurk. In the heart of this bustling metropolis, a darkness stirred, a presence that moved silently through the night, unseen but deeply felt. The Nightstalker. A shadow moved through the night, slipping through the cracks of the city's defenses. He was a phantom, a ghost that haunted the dreams of London's residents. He was known as the Nightstalker, a name whispered in fear, a figure cloaked in mystery. His presence was a chilling reminder that even in a city as vibrant as London, darkness could find a way in. And he was about to cast a long, terrifying shadow over London. His reign of terror was just beginning, and the city would soon feel the full weight of his malevolence. For years, whispers of his deeds traveled on the wind. Stories of his exploits spread like wildfire, each tale more horrifying than the last. He was a specter that loomed large in the collective consciousness of the city. Elderly residents, living alone, became prisoners in their own homes. The fear of the Nightstalker was a constant companion, a shadow that never left their side. Fear was his constant companion, his name, Delroy Grant, a man whose very name sent shivers down the spines of those who heard it. His crimes were as brazen as they were chilling. Breaking into homes under the cover of darkness, he preyed on the vulnerable, leaving a trail of trauma in his wake. He was a predator, stalking his prey with a cold, calculated precision. Each break-in was meticulously planned, each victim carefully chosen. The Nightstalker was a master of his dark craft. Leaving a trail of trauma in his wake, he shattered the peace of countless homes. The scars he left were not just physical but emotional, haunting his victims long after he was gone. This is the story of the Nightstalker, a tale of fear that gripped a city, of a predator who thrived in the shadows. But it is also a story of resilience, of a community that refused to be broken, a story of fear, of resilience, and ultimately, of justice. For in the end, the Nightstalker was brought to justice, and the city of London could finally breathe a sigh of relief. Delroy Easton Grant, a name that would later send shivers down the spines of many. Born in Jamaica in 1957, Grant's early years were spent in a vibrant yet challenging environment. The streets of Jamaica, with their rich culture and history, were a stark contrast to the life he would later lead. As a young boy, he was surrounded by the warmth of family and the tight-knit community of his homeland. However, beneath the surface, there were already signs of the darkness that would later consume him. In the late 1960s, Grant journeyed to the UK, seeking a new life and opportunities. The promise of a better future was a beacon for many immigrants of that era. But for Grant, the streets of London would become the backdrop for his sinister transformation. Instead of finding prosperity and peace, he would become a byword for terror. The bustling city, with its shadowy alleyways and dark corners, seemed to mirror the growing darkness within him. His descent into darkness remains shrouded in mystery. What triggered his transformation? Was it the isolation of being in a foreign land, or were there deeper, more sinister forces at play? His life is a puzzle with missing pieces. Each fragment of his story offers a glimpse into the mind of a man who would become one of the most feared criminals in London's history. The monster he became left an indelible mark on London. His crimes were not just acts of violence, but were imbued with a chilling sense of premeditation and cruelty. Grant's early life remains an enigma. While some remember him as a quiet, unassuming boy, others recall moments that hinted at a more troubled psyche. His life was a tapestry woven with threads of normalcy, punctuated by glimpses of darkness. These glimpses, though fleeting, were harbingers of the horrors to come. Was it a troubled childhood, a descent into madness? The answers remain elusive. The fragments of his past offer no clear explanation, only more questions. His victims, however, felt the full force of his depravity. They were the silent witnesses to his monstrous acts, forever scarred by their encounters with him. They became the unwilling participants in his horrific narrative. Their stories, filled with pain and fear, are a testament to the true nature of the monster that Delroy Grant became. The Nightstalker didn't rely on chance. His was a calculated reign of terror. He meticulously chose his victims, elderly women living alone, in quiet, unsuspecting neighborhoods. He observed them, learned their routines, became a phantom haunting the edges of their lives. Darkness was his ally. He would slip into their homes under the cloak of night, a crowbar, his tool of entry. He moved with chilling precision, cutting phone lines, disabling alarms, his victims trapped in a nightmare, his crimes a grotesque performance of power and control. The true extent of Grant's crimes remains unknown. The shadows whisper of hundreds of victims, lives shattered, trust broken, a city living in fear. From 1992 to 2009, his reign of terror continued. The elderly, once symbols of wisdom and experience, became recluses in their own homes. Fear permeated their lives. The simple act of sleeping, once a refuge, transformed into a terrifying ordeal. The Nightstalker's legacy was etched in their very beings. Section 5. Operation Minstead, a race against a shadow. The Metropolitan Police launched Operation Minstead, their mission to stop the Nightstalker, the largest rape investigation in British history. 70 officers working tirelessly, following every lead, chasing a ghost. Years turned into a decade. The case grew colder, frustration mounted. The Nightstalker seemed to melt back into the shadows after every attack. But the detectives refused to give up. They knew he would slip. One mistake, one clue. It was only a matter of time. Despite their efforts, the police faced setbacks. Leads went cold. Potential breakthroughs amounted to nothing. Grant remained elusive, a phantom mocking their every move. Years later, questions still linger. Could he have been caught sooner? Were there missed opportunities? The investigation, though ultimately successful, exposed flaws. A need for better communication, more resources. The weight of these questions hung heavy on the minds of those involved. Justice delayed is justice denied. In 2011, Delroy Grant finally faced justice. The evidence was overwhelming. DNA evidence linked him to multiple crime scenes. His web of lies unraveled. His mask of normalcy slipped. The monster stood revealed. His defense? A desperate attempt to shift blame to his ex-wife, to his own son. His claims, however, were as hollow as his soul. The jury saw through his facade, their verdict, guilty. He was sentenced to life imprisonment, a small measure of solace for the victims. Delroy Grant's reign of terror ended. But the scars he inflicted run deep. The elderly community forever changed, their sense of security shattered, their trust in the world irrevocably broken. The Nightstalker's shadow still lingers, in the quiet moments, in the dark corners of the mind. His crimes serve as a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface, of the vulnerability of the innocent. The case of Delroy Grant forced a reckoning, a need to reevaluate how we protect our communities, especially the most vulnerable among us. It was a wake-up call that highlighted the gaps in our system and the urgent need for change, to learn from the mistakes of the past, to ensure that such horrors are never repeated. This meant revisiting old cases, scrutinizing every detail, and understanding where we went wrong. To better protect the vulnerable, we had to build stronger relationships with the communities we serve. This involved not just increased patrols, but also fostering trust and open communication. To ensure that such a reign of terror never happens again, we implemented increased patrols and community outreach programs. These initiatives were designed to create a visible and reassuring presence in neighborhoods, especially during the night. A renewed focus on supporting victims became paramount. This included providing resources and counseling to help them recover and feel safe again. Victim support groups and social workers played a crucial role in this effort. These are just some of the steps taken to rebuild trust and ensure safety. Regular meetings and planning sessions were held to continuously improve our strategies and adapt to new challenges. The fight for justice continues not just in the courts, but in the daily efforts of law enforcement and community activists. Their dedication is a testament to the collective will to create a safer environment for all, not just in the courts, but in the hearts of those determined to create a safer world. Community events and vigils serve as reminders of our shared commitment to this cause, a world where the shadows hold no power, where every street and alley is a place of safety. Security measures like better lighting and surveillance have made a significant difference, where the night brings peace, not terror. Families can now enjoy their evenings without fear, knowing that their community is protected and secure.